It's on vinyl and vision.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Vinyl and Vision. Here we are with episode 71. Today's very special guest are the Handcuffs. 3 out of 5 members of the Handcuffs to be exact, and 3 out of 5 ain't bad. We have Brad Elvis, drummer and backing vocalist, Chloe F. Orwell, lead vocalist and rhythm guitar, and Jeffrey Kmieciak, lead guitarist for the Handcuffs. Now, all 3 of those members are here tonight to join me to speak about an influential record to them, which happens to be, or what they chose, what they happened to land on together, collectively, was David Bowie's Hunky Dory. Luckily for me, this comes not too long after the last Bowie record that I had tackled, Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. This record, Hunky Dory, comes directly before Ziggy Stardust was released, and we get into it. I share a lot of information about this record, what I was able to find, and its relation, obviously, to the band The Handcuffs and the members, and what the significance of this record is on these members. Otherwise, all I have to say is it was a great conversation. It was a great opportunity to meet these members of the band, The Handcuffs from Chicago. I look forward to running into them at some point in the future. Not sure exactly when and where that will be, but will definitely be looking forward to it and be looking out for them. And you can do the same. By all means, go to their website. We'll provide links to their website in the show notes. Just go into the show notes, and there will be links to their website, which can connect you to all of their social media accounts, their Bandcamp account, so that you can buy the new record, Burn the Rails, which is currently available in digital and CD formats. And the vinyl is coming. There will be a gatefold vinyl release, and due to production delays, we do not have a date for the release of the vinyl. But if you connect with them and follow them on their social media accounts, I'm sure that you will hear all about it when it's ready or when it will be available for sale. If you'd like to know more about our show and help us out here, learn ways to support us, I would encourage you guys to go to psychicstatic.net. Otherwise, you can all do all the other things you do with the internet, is what we ask here. Like, share, subscribe, comment, rate, review, all that happy horse shit. It helps us out, and we will thank you very much for it. And now, enjoy the show. So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Let me see if I can get this straight. Jeffrey Kmieciak?
Kmieciak.
Very close. Has to roll off the tongue a little easier. Kmieciak. Yeah. And you're the guitar player.
Yes. Lead guitar in the Handcuffs.
When did you join the band?
It's a very good question. I want to say it was 2017. It sounds right.
Yeah.
Chloe and Brad might know better than me.
Oh, there's somebody now. There's Chloe.
Sorry that we're late.
Oh, hey, that's okay.
Yeah,
We had some technical difficulties.
Yeah, the Uber driver.
The Uber driver was late.
No.
What?
Yeah, that's quite all right.
That's that, Jeff. How much of a Brad joke is that?
It's perfect.
Hey, I guess he rubs off on you, I guess. Kind of can't help it.
Hey, are you Jimmy?
Yes. Hi,
Hey,
Chloe.
I'm Chloe. That's Brad.
Nice to meet you guys.
Oh, I don't know where he is in your screen, but he's below us.
He's in the center of my screen over here. There's
Okay.
There was a question before you guys, I was trying to remember when I joined the Handcuffs, and I want to say it was towards the end of 2017. Is that correct? Because I'm not sure.
It was pre-pandemic.
Right. Yeah.
Our life is pre-pandemic, post-pandemic.
Sometime pre-pandemic or post Gettysburg Address.
It was sometime in the 2020s, in the 2000s or whatever. I don't know if I'm even in the millennia.
It's all too hard to tell.
I want to say
COVID destroyed all time.
The Handcuffs are timeless, really.
I want to say 2017, maybe, but let's just say that.
Right. Yeah. Let's just say, yeah.
How long have we been playing Gretches? It's I'm kind of trying to figure out when we got that, I got my Gretches first, but I got mine first. All right.
Are
sorry,
you
Jimmy.
big? Are you big on Gretches?
Yeah.
Guitars?
Yeah, we both.
I never was until, well, I mean, I got one for free after joining the band. I mean, like.
Oh, you can't beat that.
Well, I was like a Gretsch endorsed, whatever, I was in their catalog, and then the head.
You're in the fold, the centerfold.
I was kind of a centerfold,
Oh,
but
wow.
not naked. I was very clothed.
Yeah.
But
Totally possible.
but the head of Gretsch, who is since retired, sent everybody in the band Gretches when Jeff joined. Just sort of, it was a bit of a fluke. Not Brad.
Not you? I was gonna say, like, not even the drummer. Everyone got one.
But everybody who played, actually, the keyboard player also did not get a Gretsch because they don't make keyboards now. But
so if they would guitar players,
right? If they would have sent Brad or Allison Gretsch guitars, Jeff and I would have snatched them anyway. So no, but so anyway, we got more Gretsch. So it's just a weird fluke. But anyway, so then Jeff kind of fell in love with Gretches.
Did I love the sound? I mean, I would always.
And he bought like another one.
Yeah, I bought another one
last
recently.
year. Yeah.
Last year. Wow. Yeah. Wasn't that like 2 weeks?
We are super exciting, apparently.
You are. My computer can't control itself. It can't tell who to pan to next. There's so much action going on here. Oh, that's quite all right. So yeah, the Handcuffs. Tell me a little bit about the band. Because I'm assuming it was Brad and Chloe, correct, that started this band?
Yes, we started the band.
4 albums ago.
Yeah, it was sort of as like we had sort of come from the ashes of a previous band that we had, and we sort of wanted to evolve and do different things.
Big Hello? Was that what that was?
Exactly. And and we didn't really we just intended to sort of do a recording project and really just experiment and do some different things. Not that it was, crazy, not that, we were mothers of invention or anything, but and it just turned out really well, and we liked the direction, and then we decided we sort of missed playing. And so we decided to put a live band together, and now it's all this 4 albums later with an amazing live band that includes our amazing lead guitarist, Jeffrey, who has joined us tonight.
There you are, Jeffrey.
Hi, Jeff.
You have to speak or the camera will not come to you.
Prove that I was here, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, right.
He just went harumph.
Harumph.
Mm-hmm. And so let's see, when I guess this is the question I was getting at with Jeff was like, Jeff, how long have you been playing guitar?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I started playing guitar when I was 11.
Oh, okay.
2010.
Right. Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic.
And you never learned anything other than that? Like it was always
I
guitar?
played clarinet prior to that.
Oh, okay.
I started playing clarinet in band, and then I don't know. It was just a kind of strange thing that happened. Really, like my mom took me to the music store. I'm from Maryland originally, so like I know it's funny, but in Rockville, Maryland, I believe it was Rockville. I might be saying that because it sounds better than Gaithersburg. Anyway, like she took me to the music store because I wanted to buy some blank manuscript music because I was going to start a band with my clarinet. Like I was going to start a band, like me playing clarinet and a violin player friend of mine and maybe someone else. And then there was this box of like slightly damaged electric guitars, like for $60, and I grabbed one and I asked my mom if she would buy it for me, and she said yes. And yeah.
And that is why he is not a rock and roll clarinetist.
That's very true. Very much like classic rock had a big influence on me. I mean, it's how I learned how to play guitar. So
yeah. So I was sure that was the lead up or the follow up was what inspired you to learn how to play guitar? Going from clarinet. I mean, were you already into classic rock music? You're saying?
Well, yeah. I mean, my dad listened to. My dad turned me on to the Beatles and Chicago. He was a big Chicago fan, and yeah, I just remember like hearing Chicago's greatest hits and hearing 25 or 6 to 4 and listening to that fucking guitar and just like, oh my God, like that's so incredible. Like,
Terry Kath.
yeah, I just like, yeah. And we actually had like he had Inagata Devita on Vital, which to this day I don't understand like how it like with the rest of his record collection, it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. But like that also I really like kind of like zoned in on like all this sort of rock stuff. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, then I started just buying music, just
Yeah.
to
Oh, weird. So it was like, so you asking your mom to buy you a $60 busted up guitar was kind of because you were already turned on to music. You kind of wanted to learn how to play guitar, but you just didn't have one yet.
yeah, I just didn't I didn't know I could do it. I had no idea.
If you can
I
play
mean-
clarinet, I imagine you can play guitar.
No, I mean it's really strange because I mean I remember like at first I was just like just this weird kid, and I was like when I first got it, I just like I wanted the tuning pegs to line up perfectly, and I would just like play it like that, and I was like, this isn't right, but stupid stuff like that, just like, and then I just I caught on, and I just like started learning. I already could read sheet music, but I mean I primarily learned by ear and by like guitar tabs. So I mean, yeah, I don't know, for whatever reason it just like clicked. It like just started working.
Yeah. Okay.
I never looked back.
But basically, you passed up your chance to revive and have like a Benny Goodman quartet rock version,
True,
Right.
true.
the rock version of the Benny Goodman quartet,
Never too late. Come on.
or Mr. Ackerbilk.
There's an
Everybody's going,
alternate.
"What?"
Yeah, there's a very, very strange alternate universe of me somewhere.
Well,
Right.
I mean, Andy Mackay, speaking of clarinet, it's not quite clarinet, but Andy Mackay, who plays sax on a lot of Mott the Hoople stuff, and he's the Roxy music, plays oboe, rock and roll oboe. So it's not that out of the question.
It's not that it's impossible. It's just not common.
Right.
So, Chloe and Brad, a little bit about your musical history. Where did you start and at what age?
Oh boy. I'll talk because why not?
Sure.
I started out as a sax player, as a sax nerd, and I still love it. It's still my best instrument, I think. And I always, I know this should be a segue to talking about Bowie, but when I found out that Bowie was a sax player turned guitar player, kind of freaked me out as a kid. And some of my other favorite artists, like PJ Harvey, was a sax player turned guitar player. So that was where I started from. Not quite clarinet, but I actually can play clarinet as well. I can play all the woodwinds, but sax was my main thing. I was really into jazz, still am. But I kind of found rock music from my older siblings and my parents to some extent, who really liked things like the Beatles and everything under the sun that was rock oriented, and I kind of fell in love with it. And then I also was like, oh, there's a lot of saxophones in rock music also, so
There is.
kind of got into it. And then first I started writing songs and was writing them on piano, and I decided that guitar was so much more a rock and roll instrument. I should probably learn how to play guitar. So I sort of taught myself and took a few lessons here and there. And the teacher was always like, just play the chords how you feel like they should be played and are comfortable, which was really great advice, actually, because I have a funny way of doing Jeff, when I'm on the right fret. But yeah, so I mean, I sort of evolved from sax to guitar, but have was very much inspired by people like Bowie because of that. Because when I found out he sort of was on the same trajectory as I was, it made me happy.
Yeah.
That said, it's not that exciting for me. Take it away, Dan.
Brad, on the other hand, has a extensive story. Is that true, Brad?
Well, it's possible. I grew up in a self-taught household of music around me. Everybody just kind of, my mom came from that era, and my older brother had guitar around, acoustic originally, and I kind of fooled around on that a little bit, and I didn't really care for it. So one day I took a box of his guitars and sold them for like $60 each.
Sorry.
All the way around the block.
Love it.
And then I wanted to play something, but George Harrison hadn't written that one yet.
And you just sold all those guitars. So what else could you play?
Yeah. So I said I wanted to play something, and long story short, I ended up with a drum that I mowed yards and groomed dogs and whatever it takes to pay for
money.
it. And
Right.
I just played along the records, and I became a drummer, and always wanted to be involved in music. And then I started hearing songs in my head all the time, and I started writing down lyrics, and I kept hearing these music, and then I would hear completed songs in my head, and that's how I first started realizing.
Like original completed songs, not other people's completed
No,
songs.
it's other
right?
people's. And then I realized I should write songs, and or I could write songs. Like, oh, that's kind of fun. So that's how I started doing all that. So, and that was back in 1905.
Ooh, wow. What kind of trap kit was that in 1905? It was
Well, there was no plug-in.
Yeah.
No, I just had, well, I thought I should teaching myself at some point at 11 years old, 12. By the time I was like 12 or so, 13, I said, oh, I should find someone to follow, a mentor, drum wise, because I was always playing along the records back in the day. And there was a single by a band called The Who, and it's called I Can
Never
See
heard
From,
of them.
Yeah, they're working on it, and I can see they have a lot of farewell tours.
Yeah. Okay.
But I can see for miles. Anyway, I was like, wow, I've never heard drumming like that. It was like stood out to me, and I related to it. I wonder who that is, and I found out that the drummer's name was Keith Moon, and I started following everything, and any magazine or anything I could consume. And so I just followed that. So he was my first drum hero, I guess, that I should follow from. So I did that for a number of years. Of course, there's a lot of other drummers and guitar players and comedians that inspired me along the way.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Speaking of vinyl records, I heard you mention, I know that you are a big collector.
Yes.
You kind of have a pretty extensive collection at this point, correct?
Yes.
So what was your relationship with vinyl records? I mean, obviously that was the only format when you were growing up. I think for younger people like myself, like I'm 42, I didn't really have vinyl records growing up. So what is your relationship with them like now?
We're married.
Hi, I'm
married
vinyl.
now. We went steady for a number of years. Oh gosh, I don't know. I just grew up with them, and when you talk to someone about vinyl, especially someone that was around it back, they always say, "Oh, this is so different. You can hold the cover and you can study it and look at it, and you feel like part of it, and it was your thing." It's like, this is mine. And in fact, to this day, if you go to a lot of thrift shops, or if you find a used record somewhere, you'll see someone's name on it. They always wrote their name on it because this is mine.
Right.
It's like anyway, I just love all of that, and it brings back a lot of memories, and it makes me feel good. So,
and they sound great.
Yeah,
I mean,
collect
that's
records.
why the kids today are starting to collect vinyl, because they're thinking
This would be my original one, and look how nice shape it is. It's so wonderful.
Yeah, that does look nice. Is that a US pressing, I imagine, right?
Yes.
Cool. Back from 71 when it was released?
Oh,
Yes,
something
probably.
like that. Yeah.
Cool. That's great. That's a pretty valuable record. I mean, not crazy valuable. Like some of them get stupid, but
Right.
all Bowie is so expensive these days. Like especially the original pressings.
Yeah.
And early on, one of my first the first real band that really kind of, I took a step. The lead person of that band turned us all on to David Bowie early on. So I thank him for that. And before that, I was, just besides the Beatles and the Stones and
The Who.
And the Who and all
The
that
trifecta, the
you
British
all the
invasion
classic
trifecta.
60s bands.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that, as I became a young teen, I needed more angst, and I was listening to more heavier, harder, anything that was loud and riffy. But anyway, he turned us on to Bowie around that time. And it was like, it's kind of a combination of both,
Yeah.
Sure.
And rock, it had some rock and roll, but at the same time, there's some kind of almost Beatles-like things to it.
And I'm just going to interject just do a very abridged version. He's also gone through like a couple of major label deals with bands in the like late 70s and the 80s where they did, tours and arena tours and played with everybody. And
right.
So he's got a pretty great history that one day people can read about in the book he wrote during the pandemic. So,
Yeah.
but his history is, and it's been great because he also was able to just evolve very smoothly into the DIY era of, doing things a little differently than from the heady days of the, A&R people and rock, big major labels and tour buses and all that stuff.
And me, and yes, I wrote a book, and it's close to being edited now and all
Finished,
that.
yeah.
But it's just over the years, everybody's like, "Oh, you got to write a book." Every time I tell some story, and then Chloe will go, "I didn't know you did that, or you met that person." And going back to the guy that turned us on to Bowie, we got tickets to go see David Bowie. Long story short, we saw 2 nights. And
is this you? Are you talking about you, not we?
No, well,
Okay.
This is, I don't know if
you and somebody else.
Well, no, I just didn't, because we did see Bowie together, but I was like, we didn't do 2 nights. So
but this was like,
never mind.
Early 70s type thing. And we ended up, me and one of the other young band members, we were still in our teens. And we ended up meeting David Bowie and hanging out in a room and talking to him. And
yeah, I think I read an article actually about one of your older bands. I don't know if it was the Elvis Brothers or not, or Screams probably. Opened up for Devo at the
yeah, that was Screams.
Yeah, at Max's.
Knitting?
Yeah.
Max's it was. Yeah, and David Bowie was there.
Yeah.
Like he was
he introduced Devo, right?
Yeah, I kind of met
So
it. Yeah, because they
crazy.
didn't know each other.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just kidding. No, I met Bowie also briefly that evening. Anyway, when he walked off, the lead singer and I were like, "Oh, here he comes." He's like, "Hey, David." He's like, we just shook his hand,
Yeah,
Hey,
very nice guy.
I met you like 4 years ago. No, I was kidding. Yeah, he's fine. Actually, there's some pictures I saw not too long ago, and they're always all by Bob Gruen in New York City. And it was upstairs at Max's, which is just this crappy hallway room. And there's a picture of David Bowie, like, laughing, talking to the Devo guys. And I'm like, I could have been in that. I was like literally standing like 3 feet away from that watching, like, I remember that. So it's kind of funny, but I always miss everything by this much. So
yeah, that's all right. But you got to meet him. That's actually very cool. I mean, he's such an icon, and unfortunately now he's gone. So it's any moments that you had with him that anyone might have had with him is probably to be cherished, really.
Tis.
Yeah. So speaking of this record, so we might as well go ahead and get into that. Now, three of you members of the Handcuffs are here tonight, and I guess you all collectively chose this record. Is that how this worked, or what is the significance of David Bowie's "Hunky Dory" to the three of you?
We all sort of chose it. It chose us, really.
Yeah. Okay.
We all really like it. It's interesting because this record, it's one of my favorite Bowie. I mean, I can't say it's my favorite, but it is. But I have others that are equally
like picking a favorite Beatle,
right?
album.
So, but it's interesting because this record in particular, and I know Jeff and I discussed this a couple days ago, how much we love this record, but that it's for especially for like a guitar player, even though Rano is amazing when he's on it, this is not like a guitar heavy, shredding heavy record.
No.
But the fact that we really appreciate it, and that Jeff especially really appreciates it and really loves it, I think is a testament to sonically what a great record is, and how great the songs are, and how great the arrangements are, and how great the production is. Because it's something that you wouldn't think of as like a lead guitar picking as his favorite Bowie record, you know?
Sure.
Even though every time Rano comes in, it's just magic.
There's no big,
you know,
rock out guitar thing, but actually, I don't know what the word would be, ironically or whatever, but one of the most screaming guitar things that he does is on one of the more quieter songs on the
that would be
album, which is
ironic.
Life on Mars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
You know,
yeah, I'm not sure exactly why. I mean, I don't know if it was a timing thing for me or something, just like it really grabbed me, which in a way that I will get to probably later, but like just like speaking of Mick Ronson's, like I just think his tastefulness, his being so selective and creative, like I think that's why this album has probably influenced me a lot more than like anything else, actually, if I think about it. Because it's like, it really is like one of those things where it's like, yeah, he's doing what the song needs. And, you know, it's like, you don't need anything else. You know?
Yeah, you gotta serve the song, and I think that's an excellent point, because I wasn't really listening to Mick Ronson's performance on this record so much, only because everything else, like the most of the piano work, sticks out so much.
No kidding. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's an example of, as far as, you know, we'll get to the other stuff, obviously, but with Rano, it's an example of like what you don't play is just as important as what you do play.
Absolutely.
And of course, because he arranged most of these songs, he was sort of the arranger. And I think he probably did a little production in this record too, even though he didn't technically get production credit, because it sounds like things he did, and he does.
Well, he definitely got the credit for the string arrangements.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I just think maybe arranging some of the songs for Bowie so that they were, I don't know, maybe better songs or something. But
possibly.
He again, he played in a way an arranger and possibly co-producer would play, so that it wasn't for him personally, it was for the song. I mean, I'm a huge Rano fan. Like, he's my favorite deceased guitar player. So anything he does, whether he's playing guitar or doing string arrangements or playing piano, is a-okay with me.
well,
Yeah.
he and Mick Ronson and Tony Visconti pretty much arranged and put together Man Who Sold the World for Bowie, from what
Right.
I've read. From what I've read, they where they actually complained that Bowie was like, "Who is this guy?" Because they'd never met him before, and he said, "Yeah, I got these bits of songs, and I have these songs," and they were like, "We're like putting these songs together for the guy, and he's out in the lobby with his new girlfriend,
Bowie.
Bowie, you know." And I think, since they came from such a rock, whatever they were doing at the time, Mick Ronson and that, I think that was Bowie's like, you know, I don't know a whole heck of a lot about this hard rocking kind of stuff, because he had come from almost kind of a Donovan acoustic-y thing.
Yeah, very folk background.
And he was always in competition with Mark Bolan, who had just put out Electric Warrior. So it was so I think he kind of had them do whatever, you know, and that album really rocks. It's like a rock band, you know, and it's like jamming out, and it's just
Man Who Sold
totally.
the World. Are you talking about Electric Warrior or Man Who Sold the World?
Man Who Sold the World.
Oh, okay.
And then so the next album, you know, so yeah. It's I'm sure they had a bit to do with it. So
yeah. No, let me just ask you a question. Chloe, you were mentioning how you assumed that Mick Ronson probably had been doing some kind of production, or at least like helping with some arrangement of songs. it led me to wonder, what is it like? Because as a songwriter, like I have written some songs myself, although I don't. It's not my strong suit. And I know that I've definitely brought songs in completely fully formed, and I know that Bowie has done that as well. But
Of course.
in the event that there is like a songwriter, like I was also playing in a band where there was a primary songwriter, and he would bring in his songs, which were essentially, you know, a few different chord changes and then like, you know, a few verses, maybe the chorus. But I remember it was specifically me as a bass player and then the drummer that kind of fleshed out the songs as a group. And we really kind of, all of us like kind of arranged those songs. So what is it like with the Handcuffs? As far as like arrangement, like writing songs, who brings the songs in, who writes the songs, and then like how do they get arranged?
Brad is the primary songwriter,
The drummer?
I know, arranger. He's a little bit of a freak songwriter. I mean, Brad and I are the songwriters primarily, but everybody brings in their, just for the Handcuffs, because that's just the way it worked out. And it was like our band that we started, and everybody seems to like the songs, but everybody brings in cool shit. Are we allowed to swear in this podcast?
No, I have to cut that out now. No, it's still absolutely fine. You can say whatever you want. Say whatever the fuck you want. It's great.
Okay. Oh yeah. So, I mean, we need a whole other podcast to talk about the way Brad writes songs and brings them in, because it's very, I don't know, sort of idiot savant like without the idiot part. But
because Brad doesn't play an instrument, like a stringed instrument, like a guitar.
No, he doesn't really play any other instruments, although he can kind of pick things up. And he did a piano solo on one of our previous albums, and it's so good. And he doesn't even know what notes he was playing or what key the song was really in.
Oh, okay.
And he was the first take, and the producer, and this is before Jeff joined the band, so 1976. But
I've written songs on piano, like,
right? And you've written songs on piano, yeah, right. But
Fake Friends.
Brad did the piano solo, and while we were recording, it was like one take, and he's like, "Let me do another one," and the producer and I are like, "No, don't do another one. That one was perfect." He did another one, but we ended up using the first one. So he's but we both bring songs in. But Brad is so prolific. But we sort of collaborated a lot, Brad and I, as far as the songwriters on this record. But then we have people like Jeff who will play an amazing Jimmy Page, like, guitar solo, or Robert Fripp kind of guitar solo, or put some cool,
or Jeff Kmieciak,
or Jeffrey Kmieciak. No, or some cool rhythmy thing. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a group effort as far as just like the compositions. They come into the band pretty much fully formed.
And again,
although we have done things in the studio where we've made a mistake and we've made that part of the song. So that does happen.
Yeah, Jeff, and actually the whole band's really great at playing, like we were saying with Mick Ronson, you were saying, Jeff, whatever to really fit the song,
I see. Okay. So let's see. Maybe we should go ahead and try to get into this record. Before we get into this record, let me just ask you, each of you, when was the first time you heard this record?
Yesterday. I'm kidding.
That made quite an impression. It's like
yesterday, and it was like, what? Who is this David Bowie? I don't know.
Bowie.
I have no idea when I heard it. I probably heard it from one of my older siblings. And I probably looked at the record, because I'm sure we had it on vinyl as a family. And I looked at the record and was like, probably like looking at the cover photo going like, looking at it, just like,
what a pretty woman.
No, like I love like, this boy is so pretty and I want to meet him and maybe be him someday. So yeah, that's probably how I thought of it.
Okay.
Don't touch my record.
I know. And I don't know. I mean, Brad, you probably heard it in 71.
Don't you ever touch my records again.
What about Jeff?
I mean, I sort of grew up like hearing Bowie here and there, but it seriously wasn't until I moved to Chicago that's for whatever reason, Hunky Dory, I don't know, it just kind of like it grabbed me, and it like, I mean, for at least the first couple of years, it's like it was on constant play. Like I'd have my Discman, you know, going to work. I always had Hunky Dory with me, like flying to see my family, like always. Just like, I mean, it's just like something about it, like really just grabbed me, um, like more so than any other Bowie record at the time that I can think of. Or,
Okay.
I mean, yeah. Anyway,
And because you
I'll
did
leave it
know
at that.
you did know other Bowie records. It wasn't like this was the first.
No. I mean, it was just, but it was the first one that I really it just grabbed me, and I was like, I just kept going back to it. Like always, like
Okay.
so.
I
I mean,
get it.
there's something
Yeah.
about it. Yeah,
You know what? Another question for all of you. Are there any tracks on this record that you don't like?
No.
mm-mm.
You like them all?
Oh my God. Even the weird last one.
Even that stupid Life on Mars song.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to check because
Yeah.
I do have a tendency to skip a song or two here and there. And Jeff, how about you? Any least favorite tracks?
I mean, seriously, nothing I can think of. I mean, I think and what I was thinking about it too when I was revisiting it over the past week, I do just like the sequence of it, the way it's all put together. It's brilliant. I mean, it's a brilliant album, and it like, and yeah, the production is so amazing. Like, I mean, it holds up so well to this day. Like, it is such a great album sonically and emotionally.
Yeah.
And it just like, yeah, there's just something about it that like, I don't know. I mean, and it also hit me like at an age when I was like in a huge transition, and like this is one of those albums that like kind of like fucking like saved my life. So like this is a big thing for me. Like, I mean, I would, it's weird. It's like, I don't think I would normally want to do something like this, like if I didn't like really care about it, you know.
Yeah.
I feel this album like it's a part of me. It's, you know, so.
Sure. I can understand that. Absolutely. It's a great and very powerful record. We're going to go ahead and start getting into it. All right. We're going to start off with the first song, Changes. So Changes, I mean, great song, absolutely classic, timeless song that everybody loves. It's the last song Bowie ever played live on stage, right? Isn't that this one?
Oh.
Not sure.
Or was it? No, I think it was a song. Yeah, I think it was this one. Yeah, it was the last song he ever played on stage back in 2016, was it? Before he passed away?
That's pretty prophetic. I don't know. That's I mean I think he knew he was probably not long for this world, but that actually kind of gave me goosebumps to find that out.
Yeah, that's and I'm pretty sure I'm correct when I say that it was that song. So let's see, Changes. According to biographer David Buckley, the phrase strange fascination not only embodies a continued quest for the new and the bizarre, but also carries with it the force of compulsion, the notion of having to change to stay afloat artistically. So what would you say is the biggest changes the band has been going through to get to this new record, Burn the Rails?
Band members, probably, like all the new band members. Or
For
they're not
us,
new, but it's just like this is the first time we felt like this is more of a band
endeavor with the record.
And our 13 albums before, our 3 albums before, it was a lot. I mean, we had a band, but it was kind of like Chloe and I were just there all the time. And
what we wanted to evolve into and change
more of a
into
thing
was really solidified with this current lineup that we have, which is hopefully our forever lineup, our forever home.
Mm-hmm. And who are those members? We might as well mention them now while we're talking about it.
Jeffrey Kmieciak is our lead guitarist, and he also does some background vocals. Emily Togney is our bass guitar player and also does background vocals. Allison Hinderleiter, our own Rick Wakeman. She's our keyboardist. And there's Chloe F. Orwell and Brad Elvis, who I am just the dumb lead singer and play rhythm guitar and saxophone on the record. And Brad's the drummer. So
Cool.
No, I'm just the
you're
drummer.
just the drummer.
So I've listened to the new record because it just came out officially not too long ago. Like, was it the 3rd that it came out? Okay. So I just listened to the whole record.
Ian Hunter's birthday, by the way, who had an affiliation with David Bowie. So there you go.
Ian Hunter, he's from Mott the Hoople, isn't
Yep.
he?
Mott the
Singer?
Hoople.
Show me your t-shirt.
Mott the Hoople. Okay.
Oh, you're Mott the Hoople obsessed, right?
Yes.
So why are we not
That's an
talking about Mott the
understatement,
Hoople?
because we're going to be doing that on another podcast. But we also are Bowie obsessed, like super
Oh, okay.
Bowie obsessed. Also,
Mop the Hoople.
I mean,
upset.
Bowie and Mott are so, to us, they're like an extended family for us. I mean,
Oh,
really, don't you think,
okay.
you guys? It's
Yeah, it
like
kinda
the
makes sense.
They're the extended family. I
Did-
mean,
but
Rano shared both
All
of
the
those
young
bands,
dudes.
all the young dudes.
All the young dudes,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I feel like they could just be interchangeable, and the songs could kind of be interchangeable in a lot of ways, I think.
Okay. But so Burn the Rails is the new record, and I like, so aside from the band lineup, I mean, like, even I think that the image of it, like the artwork for the album, like, I haven't seen this on the gatefold and the vinyl because that's not out yet, but I know that you guys are doing that, but like,
Yes.
all of it looks super sleek and cool and like modern. What like, is this going to be like the big one? Like how much effort did you put into making this new record?
I mean, a lot and a little. It was so easy in some ways because of the band and how
Yeah.
much we all were on the same page and how much we all really like playing together. But for me, it was the hardest record to make, but also my best record I've ever made. So it's like one of those weird, and part of that might be because of going through this shit show of the pandemic we're still kind of going through. We sort of finished the record. We laid down the last overdub on the day before lockdown here in Chicago, or like the 3 days before lockdown. And then we started kind of remixing and doing mastering and
In 2020 lockdown?
yeah.
Because I know lockdowns have been kind of like happening.
Yeah,
steadily for
the
past-
first lockdown.
The first one,
that
okay.
And so so I mean, it was hard. I don't know. It was a little hard to make because we also sort of really had this vision of what we wanted.
And some of the songs, well, I guess it's that way on all of our past records. There were songs that we had never played live.
Yeah.
The band
They just fell
had
into
never
it.
really heard them
Yeah.
before, except I or Chloe would show each other songs.
Yeah.
And
But
so that was always a thing of, oh, where are we taking this?
And everybody
Yeah, so that was
everybody was
work.
like willing to do whatever it took to get something really cool out of their part. So in that way it was like easy, which is like there was no drama in the studio. There was no like anybody getting frustrated with doing things. Every once in a while Jeff would like, we recorded it in an odd way too, because we recorded it at the studio, which is in this giant industrial building. Like it's this big giant live room with all these other little rooms in this industrial area in Chicago, and this giant building, and
lots of rats.
probably there might be, but
we did it really
but
quick.
it's this beautiful studio. And then we also did overdubs like at our house, because the producer engineer said, you've got some kind of cool rooms in your house, and I'd like to try to do some different things with doing some overdubs. And so we did that. And I'm normally skeptical with that stuff. I think I'm like a total studio person, but it worked out really well. And then Jeff would come over, we'd put his amp in the laundry room, and he would be playing in like another room. And it just, there was this magical thing that
He'd be
happened.
driving by in his car
Yeah.
recording.
Brad will never ever let us get a straight answer in without having to make a joke.
That's
Just
all right.
FYI.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry.
We call him Groucho, but yeah, so we actually, it ended up being very creative and very easy yet it was hard because of, I think, just trying to get a specific sound, and our influences for this record we were really, really wanting to try to match what we heard, and even put it, but put it through a modern lens,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know if that's explaining it well.
Well, I mean, I would encourage everyone to just go and listen to the record and,
Thank you.
hear it for themselves. And because it's always hard to kind of explain what a record is and kind of like what it's doing or all that stuff. You really need to just kind of hear it.
And we do, I believe we wear our influences on our sleeves. And I think you will hear where our influences are. Not that we wanted to sound like these people, but who we were influenced by a lot in many of these songs, and the performances by all of the band members.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Well, I look forward to it on vinyl. I'm a vinyl enthusiast, so I
good.
try to get those when I can. Speaking of it, I just want to ask you really quickly. I know you're doing a show at the end of the month, 25th, I think.
Yes.
What is it? A Pravda showcase?
Yep. It's Pravda Fest for their 38th anniversary, for the record label's 38th anniversary.
Great. And are you planning on doing any touring aside from that show coming up?
We don't have like national touring plans or other city touring plans yet. We're still sort of figuring out how the pandemic, we had bad experiences with COVID. So we're trying to be a little careful and figure out how we want to handle things, but we'd love to. We'd like, if we would love to do a tour. We would love to go out touring other places.
Oh, okay. Well, because I'm in Rhode Island, and so I'd like to see you at some point.
We'd like to come out to Rhode Island and stay at your house.
Oh, okay, sure, no problem.
Hang out with you and
yeah, I got a little
see your pets.
I got a little jam room. I got 2 little cats.
Oh,
they'll hide.
Okay, well, done. They won't hide from us for long. We all love cats.
Okay, great. Well, I would be honored to have you. Let's move on now to the next song, "Oh You Pretty Things." So let's see. "Oh You Pretty Things." In a January 1972 interview with Melody Maker, Bowie explains that we have created a new kind of person in a way. We have created a child who will be so exposed to media that he will be lost to his parents by age 12.
Oh,
how prophetic is that?
That is like insanely prophetic.
Yeah, I have 2 kids and one of them is 12 and he's been on his tablet all day.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And it's so funny because I'm glad you said that. I'm sorry, you guys, that I'm talking so much, but I am kind of the loudmouth of the band. I am the lead singer. So it's funny because that song struck me particularly, not even as what it's about, but it's pretty cool that you say that. I mean, that song strikes me because of the production and like how like beatly like the drum sounds are and how sort of beatly the production is, where it's that warm in the, like you're in the, it's almost like that mono production. It's not mono, but like you're in the room with them and you're hearing them play that song in the room. But I love that what you said, that I guess what "Oh You Pretty Things" is about.
Well, in a sense, I mean, I don't think it's exactly what it's about, but that's just a quote from Bowie from an interview that he did, which I just thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
Another weird little interesting fact about this song that maybe you did or did not know. David Bowie expert Nicholas Pegg told Q magazine this song began life with the title, "I'd like a big girl with a couple of melons."
Wouldn't we all, really?
Sure.
I'd like a great big girl.
That is.
Did any of you know that? I didn't know that.
No.
No. It's so like.
Are you sure that wasn't Spinal Tap?
I know. It seems like so Spinal Tap.
I don't. Well, hey, yesterday was scrambled eggs, right? I mean, who knows? It's just, it's just the way that it flowed off at the moment, and then he worked into "Oh You Pretty Things" as opposed to "I like a big girl with a couple of melons."
Well, I guess he did have a good sense of humor. From what Adrian Blue told me one time, and I hate to drop names, but McCartney once. So
Paul McCartney told you name dropped too much.
That's right. "Oh You Pretty Things," also being a vinyl dork that I am, and I actually own a copy, is Peter Noon from Herman's Hermits. David Bowie must have liked it. A lot of people like Peter Noon. Not just because, you just think of, oh, really? It's like he was kind of respected at that. The Who opened for Herman's Hermits on one of their early tours.
Wow.
And they were
Weird.
like, oh yeah, Peter Noon, he's cool, and he's still around doing his thing. But anyway, I discovered there's a vinyl 45 only released in England of Oh You Pretty Things with Peter Noon singing it. And it pretty much sounds like the same deal. And I looked up the date and it was actually
But he sang it as I Want a Girl with a Couple of Big Melons or whatever.
Yeah, right.
That's what
That's what it was.
Yeah. And it was released pre-Hunky Dory just a little bit, which is interesting. It's like Bowie, it's like, really? Why would you give away this great song? It could be on your album.
Because Bowie wasn't successful, and to give a song away that he knew would do well with Peter Noon's name on it, he did help him record that song though. Actually, I did find out that he actually did perform the piano on that recording, though it was a little weird because he's not a proficient piano player.
No.
So he actually had said, I don't have the quote in front of me, but he had said something along the lines of this, like, "Oh, I can't play that song all the way through. It's very tiring."
Not like me.
Yeah. So they kind of looped it. They did a studio check where he kind of just played the first part through, and then they just kind of cut and paste it, kind of cut tape literally and just kind of spliced it into each other and extended it.
That's
okay. Well, and because I'm thankful that you mentioned that, because I didn't want to get into that whole story, but this song, Oh You Pretty Things, I mean, it's such a beautiful piano piece to it. And this is one of the highest moments, I think, on the album, also due in large part, obviously, to the keys on this song. You guys had a guest key player on your new album. Would you like to tell me about that?
I feel like Jeff should tell, but I don't know if because I feel like I'm talking so much. But I guess I don't know. Who wants to talk about it?
I don't know if I could.
If you could do it justice.
Chloe, I don't think that
I know
it as well as you can. And
don't be an Al Cooper.
It wouldn't sound as exciting coming from me anyway.
Not the hoople. So we had a guest piano player, Rick Wakeman. No, I'm kidding. That would have been cool. Our friend,
he wasn't available, huh?
No, he was, but we just were like, you played on so much stuff, and I don't know, we want someone different. No, so Morgan Fisher from Mott the Hoople, who was in sort of the 74 version of Mott the Hoople, which is like one of the final
album or two.
Yeah, one of the most sort of famous versions of Mott the Hoople. Mm-hmm. And they had done Mott the Hoople did like a reunion tour, and we went to see it in Chicago at the Chicago Theater, this big, beautiful concert theater. And it was spectacular. And it's so hard to go see like a nostalgia tour, a reunion tour, because you don't know what it's going to be like. But it was insane. Every single person in that theater, we knew many of them who went to the show. I don't know how many people the Chicago Theater holds, but everybody was blown away because these guys could have been 25 years old and not, in their 60s and 70s. And anyway, so I wrote a silly review, not a silly review. I wrote a review just for fun that I posted on socials, and it kind of went viral. And then some publication picked it up, and they actually paid me to run it, and I cleaned it up a little bit and expanded on it. And then Morgan Fisher saw it, and he posted it and was saying, this review is great. And then we became friends on Facebook. And I might be telling it wrong.
To set up the interview, it's Chloe F. Orwell, and she also has
I forgot about Handcuffs. That they wrote who I was when in the publication described who I am.
And Morgan saw that too, and he had posted something about, this is fantastic review by this little lady,
by this tiny little sax player,
and she has a band, I guess, called the Handcuffs. And I looked them up, and they're amazing, and all this stuff. And then then we just became friends on socials. He lives in Japan,
And we just became like fast friends. Like we'd known each other forever. And I mean, he is literally one of our heroes. So to meet a hero and have him just be like praising what you did for, you know, for him was pretty mind blowing. But then we just became friends, and he's just like a, you know, like I always tell people, he's like a favorite uncle or something.
And then at the time,
Yeah.
But
we were working on the new album.
we were working on the album at the time.
And he said, "Oh, I see you're working on a new record. You know,
you want me to play anything on
keyboards
it?"
myself, you know." And but he was like, "Hey, if you guys, you know, need," and I play synthesizer. He was pushing the synthesizer.
He's pushing synthesizer too, which we didn't know. I guess it's funny because a lot of the, even including our keyboard player, Allison, they're amazing piano players, like, you know, like Rick Wakeman on this, you know, record. You would never think that he became Rick Wakeman of Yes with all that synth and stuff. So, but anyway, Morgan is a great piano player, but also a great synth player. And he, we talked about it with Allison, our keyboardist, and I think we talked about it with the rest of the band too, but she helped us decide which songs to send his way, since she's the first chair keyboard section of our band. So, and she helped us figure out some songs that she thought it would be cool to have an additional keyboardist on. And the rest is history. The songs came back. Brad was out touring with another band during with the Romantics at the time. And I got them first and via email. And I was really nervous about listening to what he did. And I heard him, and I just remember I was just by myself at home, just laughing because they were so good and fit the songs, and he really got it. And, you know, we told him like Mott the Hoople was a huge influence for us for this record. In addition to, we even said like some Bowie stuff, some, I don't even remember what else we told him, what were influences, and he got it. And so that was that.
Cool. That sounds great. And like, what songs is he performing on?
He plays amazing piano on I'm Happy Just to Dream with You.
No. Oh yeah, that's the name of it. Sorry, I apologize.
And then synthesizers, amazing, cool synthesizer string parts and things on a song called She Ain't No Fluffer. And
which was going to be called We Want a Woman with 3 Melons, but She Ain't No Fluffer was better.
Yeah.
And then
it works.
Just lost my train of thought. I keep thinking of these melons. No, and actually just today, our record label Pravda officially released our third video for our new album of She Ain't No Fluffer, which is a special guest appearance in the video
by Morgan Fisher,
the one and only Morgan Fisher, and of course
the lights being what they are,
and he's on the track. The lights being what they are, and he's on the track as well. So you can find that on YouTube or something.
But he would also.
Your nearest drive-in
I don't
theater.
think the band, we Zoom with Morgan a lot. Brad and I just Zoom with him. We have to always plan it because the time, you know, they're like 15 hours ahead, 15 hours in the future in Japan.
Yeah.
I don't remember if the band has ever met him via Zoom or whatever, but we're going to do that one day soon because he is so much like us. He really is like the 6th member. I mean, we hit it off so immediately with him. Like I could totally see Jeff and Morgan talking about like immediately hitting it off with things, you know, or any of the band, the other 2 members too.
So you think he's going to leave Mott for you guys?
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to do that. Yeah, I bet. Oh yeah, that's funny. Brad's showing me. He just messaged us on Facebook to say.
Is he hearing us right now? Is he on the Zoom too? Where
maybe he's always somewhere. Yeah, he's going to leave Mott for us.
That's it.
Next question, Jeff is
all
answering.
That melon talk.
Right.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? I don't have a next question.
Okay, you don't. Okay.
Well, I'm because the next song is 8-line poem.
Yeah.
And for this song, it's a little. It was tricky for me. I mean, it's just that it's literally a song with 8 lines for the lyrics. And the only thing I really have to say about this song is that it's perfect at tying the end of "Oh You Pretty Things" into the beginning of "Life on Mars."
I think it's a great transition song. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's
I
a
mean,
stream of consciousness, which I think is a really good transition from Pretty Things to Life on Mars.
right. But even like musically,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that this begins on the same exact note that "Oh You Pretty Things" ends on, and then
Ah,
ends on the first note that "Life on Mars" starts with.
Yeah, doing his Anthony Newley.
right.
Oh,
all right.
Yeah.
And
that,
there's
but-
that twangy, sparse
I love
guitar. I know,
it's
right,
so
Jeff?
good. It's so good. I can hear it right now. Like
and
it's
that
just
that super mellowy kind of guitar,
Yeah.
cool guitar stuff.
Yeah, Jeff and I were just saying, like it's twangy though. It's like
Yeah.
got a twang.
It's got a little bit of a country feel to it, and it's very sparse, kind of like what you were saying earlier, Jeff, about the
exactly. Yeah, and also, I mean, god damn, that tone, that guitar tone is just like it's like, I mean, it sonically, it's just like it's just so perfect. It really is. Like it's just like it yeah, every time it comes in, I'm just like, wow. Like yeah, like there's Rano just like all right, that's what he
Playing
came
for the
up,
song.
and that's what he did. Like he probably didn't have a second thought about it.
No,
Yeah.
it's I almost kind of you can almost like see them both sitting there, and he's just playing off of Bowie's vocals, and even the guitar sounds. It's really quiet, but he's doing that those Rano bending notes
Yeah.
that he does.
Yeah.
But it's just like this quiet little, like he's just like watching Bowie as he's singing it, and like I don't know if he was, but that's how I picture, he's playing off the vocal lines.
I really want to believe he was watching Bowie while he played those, because I
It
think
sounds
that
like-
seems like the kind of thing he would do.
Yeah.
It has that feel of like, I don't know where you're going, but I'm just going to kind of do a little answer lines on this guitar kind of quietly because it's a quiet song,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. I could see all of those situations.
But even the things he says about his songs kind of piss me off because they're so poetic. Like such a good wordsmith.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys. He just can't do any wrong.
No.
All right. Well, speaking of just beautiful words. Well, let's move on to the next song, "Life on Mars."
Stupid song. Next.
It's the worst.
This one blows.
Aliens, whatever.
Real quick, I'm gonna say. Oh no, go ahead, Jeff. Do it, Jeff.
Yeah, this is one of those songs that just like still to this day, when I hear the piano come in, and it just like it goes straight into my soul. I feel like it just like it still affects me the same way every time I hear it. And lyrically, it is more on point than ever, and it will always be on point as long as there are assholes in the universe.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I also feel like, and this might be totally out of left field, but I hear like this sort of feminine influence in this song with Bowie's vocals. And I don't know if it has something to do with like the idea of the song, and he wanted to sort of sound maybe alien or opposite sex or non-binary or something. Again, he was pretty ahead of his time, so maybe he wanted to be sort of non-binary. But I almost hear like Lulu or Cilla Black influence in the way he's crooning this song.
That's possible.
And I love that. I love them as singers. Cilla Black and Lulu both are just amazing singers, and they were real. They a lot of people think of them as sort of like, like English pop kind of ballady singers, but they kind of had an edge, those two ladies, or still do, I guess. I guess they're still around.
I don't know if Stella is.
Yeah, I don't think Scylla is, but Lulu's definitely still around. But they had this edge that I feel like, I don't know. For me, I hear that and I can totally hear him trying to imitate them in a way. I don't know why it is.
Sure.
I mean, there's no rhyme or reason for why I think that, but when I hear it, I feel that.
There could be, because I mean, even the album cover alone, is kind of like taking inspiration from Greta Garbo.
Yeah. You know?
And so
Yeah.
there could have been that, and then the song itself obviously deals with like this girl who is being outcasted for whatever reason. Don't know if it's like some kind of argument she's having with her parents, but they're basically shunning her and
Yeah.
asking her to leave, which is horrible. And then she ends up going to the movies in order to kind of like have some escape from this trauma she's facing. So yeah, a kind of cinematic,
Oh yeah, definitely.
very cinematic.
Definitely.
So that could have something to do with it. I mean, you could be on the right track, you know.
And like he's narrating the story of her maybe as a grown-up her and trying to capture the femininity of it or the non-binaryism of it or the
or he's stepping into that character because
yeah,
that's what he
stepping
does.
into that character. Yeah. And so that, I mean, the song is everything about the song is perfection. The arrangement, the strings are perfection.
Oh yeah.
There's like the piano is, I remember seeing Rick Wakeman interviewed and he talked about the piano part on this song. And he started playing it. It was at a piano. This was, I don't even remember what was it the Rano
Bowie,
documentary
like
or the Bowie? Okay.
Bowie thing or something.
And he starts playing it and he just gets so into it and kind of like goes into this other world because
it starts like this and you expect it to go boom, boom, and he goes, but he takes it to this other chord. And you can tell Rick Wakeman, out of all this crazy shit that he's played before, is just like totally
and he's kind of getting
unexpected
almost
other
choked
chord
up.
he goes to, which is brilliant, really brilliant.
Yeah.
Listen how it flows, and he's like playing it, and you can tell he's just like so focused on how that was great. This is
and he said that this is the like best piano piece he's ever like recorded.
I believe it. And that is why maybe he got so like emotionally involved when he was explaining it.
He cut his hair even.
Yeah. I mean, he heard Bowie's demos, and I imagine this was probably one of them. To which he was just like, "Yes, when do we start recording? I want to be part of this. These songs are amazing."
And then this is another one where Rano doesn't come in until like the bridge, and then he's out, and then the bridge. I guess it's the bridge. It's a middle eight or some kind of because then he comes in again on that the second bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I love that little
and it's like it's just it just makes the song go somewhere because he doesn't have to overplay in any other part of the song. He just comes in kind of like his
actually it's interesting, like thinking about it right now, it actually like the guitar line is actually like very Brian May.
Yeah, but
it doesn't.
They weren't around yet, though.
Right?
They weren't around yet, but it's like, like I mean, just like I can totally hear Brian May. Like I mean, this album probably influenced Brian May in a big way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never thought about that before. You're absolutely correct. I can absolutely hear like that part where it would sound like something he would do. So now back to this song. We already kind of described like what this song is about. You got this girl who's having a tragic like argument or something with her parents, forcing her out. She goes to the movies to escape. What do you guys look to for an escape when you need it?
Music, I guess. I think we all.
Besides music, it's just like another. Like living in the real world. So
well,
there's music, you get lost in this little cool bubble, and then everything else is just kind of what you got to deal with.
I know that
that's with me anyway. So.
I know that when we as a band, when someone is feeling down or cranky or something, and we get together as a band and we play, and there's that chemistry that we immediately get, even if we've just played a week before or something
it's
together.
Like therapy.
It is therapy. It's like rock therapy,
Yeah.
So
Rock Therapy by Johnny Burnett Trio.
Jeff, do you have any other? I think music is probably, we've all talked about this together. It's our therapy.
I mean, it really is.
Or listening to records. I can put on a record. Yeah.
It keeps me. It's what keeps me going. I mean, always. It's always been that way. And yeah, I mean, they're just like, there's certain albums that continue to ignite that. And this is definitely one of them. Yeah, I mean, just the way it's specifically, like, I'm just like really, really so into the new Handcuffs album, and I'm like just really, really excited for us, because this is really great. Like,
and it does make us feel, I feel like we all really like this album, and we all worked really hard, and we all put all of our, it's like heartfelt, all of us, what we put on this, in this. And I think that kind of helps make the bad stuff go away a little bit, is knowing we created this cool thing together, you know.
I like that one of the early reviews, I mean, the record just came out a few days ago, but there was some, you know, press had some of the copies early, and there was one of them that said, talking about the sincerity of the band. He said, this is not a revival cover band, retro, the sincerity of the band, you know, that's what I think, well, you know, play, this is what they are. This is what they have to play. And I thought, that's true. It feels that way.
All right. Well, let's move on. Kooks.
Yeah.
Kooks. I never used to like this song. I always thought this song was kind of goofy. But then I started to research the song, and then I realized that
it really was goofy.
This was essentially a dedication to his newborn son, Duncan Jones. Duncan Zoe Haywood Jones, if you want to be accurate.
Then on the record
it says Z, inspired by Z or something. Yeah.
Yes, right.
Oh yeah, for small Z.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Kooks are in fact the parents that are describing their embarrassing love for this little new little human. Now I know I've heard Brad refer to his parents as super cool. What about the rest of you? What are your parents like?
Oh, they were awful. The rest of their parents were just, no, just kidding.
My parents were great people. Yeah. They're gone now. They turned me on to a lot of really good music.
Kind of a lot alike our parents.
Yeah, even though you grew up sort of downstate and I'm a city girl, but my dad was a bit of a beatnik.
Oh, cool.
And he turned me on to some really good music and art. He was a super into art and paintings and music. But he was maybe a kook. He also had he was very into his kids, and he till the day he died, he told people I was a jazz saxophonist, which is really cute. Even though after I was long into rock and roll and playing guitar and stuff, which was actually pretty cute, that he would say, "This is my daughter. She's a jazz saxophonist." I'm like, and although I love jazz and can still sort of play it, I'm really more of a rock and roll musician now. But it's cute. So yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. My mom was great too. So,
Jeff, what about your parents?
My parents always surprises me to this day how they were so supportive of me. So I mean, I started playing guitar when I was 11, and then when I was 13, I was playing with like 17, 18, 19-year-olds, and like they'd let me do it, I mean, I still to this day can't understand why they would, because it still seems out of character in a way when I think of how they are. But I mean, they also like distilled like an insanely strong work ethic within me.
They bought you a $60 guitar out of a
I mean, if it weren't
Was that one of Brad's guitars that he sold?
The one
apparently,
right.
My brothers.
But Kooks also is, Brad and I think it was inspired by a Neil Young song. We think Bowie heard a Neil Young song. Do you?
You're correct.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember which song, but yes, I did hear that he was influenced.
It's Till the Morning Comes, and it's on After the Gold Rush.
Oh, yeah. I know that one.
And it's really
a very short song.
Yeah, but it's really so similar. And I also think
even got like a little horn part in it.
Yeah, that's true.
With
Wow, I
Trevor
didn't notice
Boulder
that.
plays the trumpet. So
On this song, he does.
I think so, according to the
Yeah.
according to the liner notes. So
All right, let's move on to the next song, Quicksand.
My favorite song on the album.
It's a pretty good one. It's a little dark.
I love this song. Yeah, I put this song on countless mixtapes. I mean, I don't know. It's just like something about this song, just like it's confusing and sad and hopeful, and it's like everything. I mean, I think that's what it kind of like. It's why I would continue to go back to this song in particular, because it just like it. I mean, to this day, I still haven't heard anything quite like it. You know, like
Yeah,
I
it's
think. Oh, go
it's
ahead.
kind of got it. It kind of has it all in it.
Brad will probably talk about the band Split Ends part in this song, but I think this song weirdly has some almost Black Star bits to it.
Yep.
Don't you know what if you like it's not production wise, it's not, but you know what I mean,
that feel, that atmosphere, yeah.
It's got like the parts in it that is sort of like that Split Ends part that you like which Split Ends came obviously way after, but like black, like it's those harmonies are so Black Star-esque, like
they are
another prophetic thing. And this song could have been on, even thematically, could have been on Black Star.
Yeah.
You know,
and the thing too is just like it's so and also just like thinking about how like I mean like how so far away like ahead of its time, just like I mean so far ahead of its time, that song like it just doesn't seem, it's avant-garde, but it's not like, it's just like one of those weird things, you know, it's like I like it's so accessible, but like there's so much weirdness in it at the same time. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really like, I don't know. I think it's why this song, it's really stuck with me throughout the years. And also probably why, like, yeah, I mean, Black Star is probably the album I listen to the most still of any Bowie album ever. Because yeah, just that darkness, but I mean, that's a completely different conversation.
Like a tragic darkness. I like a beautiful tragic beauty, like a beautiful darkness in a weird way. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I could agree with that. I mean, so there's so much here to pick apart, but boiling it down, it seems that Bowie had been taking in so much knowledge about Buddhist faith, the occult, and the Nietzsche-esque philosophy stuff, that he kind of like reached a point of an existential meltdown, essentially, with this song, it seems. So now I don't know what your faiths are, but what makes you question them?
I'm pretty much an atheist, so I guess that's a faith in itself, which is, I guess I'm atheist. I feel like I'm atheist, but I guess I would say I'm agnostic, because who am I to say whether there is whether there is a higher being, a higher power.
Right. I agree with you.
You know, who am I to know? But I question other people's faith all the time. You know, it's that old saying, like, I love your Jesus, I just don't love your Jesus's followers, you know, that kind of thing. So
that makes sense. Yeah. I mean,
I think you have a beautiful faith.
Okay, Groucho, thank you.
What about you, Brad? You've been a little quiet.
If there was any religion, it should be like, you know, like the Beatles should be like, because they preached love and peace, and so many people were affected by them.
Yeah. And if that's the case, then the Rolling Stones make you question your faith.
Yes. And it's the only faith I have. But, yeah, if you think about it, it's like, yeah, that makes total sense. All you need is love and you know, and helter skelter. But yeah, that's where I stand with that. And even though I'm sitting down.
Okay.
And I'm definitely an atheist. I have been since probably around the time I started playing guitar, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I don't have any I have no firm beliefs, but I'm endlessly fascinated by religion and cults and the occult and everything. I mean, it's just it's fascinating what people believe. And I get transfixed by that. So
Actually, yeah, Jeff just saying that, I am also fascinated by religion and cults. I'm like fascinated.
Isn't that the same thing?
It's
Everybody has their own individual.
Yeah, it depends, I guess. I don't want to insult.
My God is the best.
I don't want to insult people who are truly faithful and are good people, and that's the way it should be.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, I am fascinated with it, and but I also feel like music. And having said like that, I don't really believe in God, but having said that, music and sometimes listening to music is a spiritual experience. And,
Absolutely.
I feel like, I'll throw around the term God-given talent or whatever, even though I don't really mean God-given. I mean like universal given or energy given or something.
Like if you sneeze, you say God bless you. It's like
I say
I didn't really mean that.
I say do not sneeze in my face again. No.
I usually go for the old Gesundheit.
Gesundheit. I think that I love that word, actually. That's a fun word to say.
Yeah, I don't know if it means the same thing literally, but I like it more than saying God bless you.
I think it's a really fun word to say, so I agree with that. And I'm going to only say that word from now on.
My when I was growing up, my parents and even my grandparents, we'd be around and somebody sneezed, they would say, "You can fuck right off." I don't know why, but that's what I grew up
Your
with.
grandparents from the old country.
I like that. Yeah.
Achoo!
I have sneezing
right and they would always say thank you.
I'm sorry, Jimmy, what?
No, I have sneezing fits now. Whenever I sneeze, I can't help but to sneeze at least 3 times in a row, which sucks. But it's not something that always happened. But when I was like a 20-year-old something living with these dudes, one of them was a hilarious dude from upstate New York originally. And I remember like him, like I sneezed once and he was just like, "Oh, God bless you." And then I sneezed again. And he was just like Gesundheit. And then the third time he's just like, "All right, we just cut it out already."
You can fuck right off.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Just fuck right off. So I love that. That always sticks with me too. Now, whenever I hear people sneeze a lot.
I love that story.
Yeah, you should do that too from now on. Just like start like as soon as someone reaches the third one, be like, "All right, that's enough."
You would be doing that a lot because I sneeze a lot.
Yeah, she sneezes 300 times a day.
But
I always, when you do that, I always say you can fuck right off.
Yep, you do.
And you say thank you.
And I say thank you.
It still works. Look at that. All right, we're now on side 2.
Oh boy.
First song of side 2 is "Fill Your Heart"
of a double album.
No, the quadruple album. It's like All Things Must Pass or triple album.
Quad
Oh
sound.
my God, I can't.
Quad sound.
When somebody picks that record, I just give up.
All Things Must Pass. All Things Must Pass.
So "Fill Your Heart," it's the only cover on the album, and a stark contrast to the last song, "Quicksand."
Yeah.
I don't actually really have a question for this song. The only thing I see about this song is that here we have the singer essentially saying, "Love will free us all and even possibly bring us peace."
And speaking of faith, that's all you need, really.
All you need is love.
And again, for all you listeners out there, young and old, check out Tiny Tim's debut album, produced by Richard Perry. He covers "Fill Your Heart," and originally, like a couple of it wasn't too much longer before the Hunky Dory album, but probably 68 or 9.
I feel like this song also was Bowie. Bowie had this sort of like this is his like English dance hall song where he would listen to like some of those old timey English, probably like a Tessie O'Shea or Google that person, kids, it's just like this is like his squeaky saxophone solo on it is
Oh yeah, that's a
Great.
great.
It's just like so ridiculously.
It's just so over the top, and it's so
Yeah.
it's just like it's almost like
It's like like he's in grade school and he's playing his sax solo on this like little English dance hall song, and it's just got this cute thing about it a little bit. And Bowie's kind of doing his kind of vocal. Anthony Newley kind of meets Lou Reed in a weird way. I think on this song, but yeah, that squeaky sax is kind of awesome on this song.
All right. Yeah, well, like I said, I don't have much to say
Your
about
favorite
that
song on the album, Jimmy?
Fill Your Heart. No, I can't say that. But this whole second side is like, as far as like the way that people listen to records, there's typically a favorite side. The A side is my favorite side by far.
Okay.
So because the next song on the B side is the song Andy Warhol.
Yes.
Do you guys not find this song to be cringy?
No, I
love this.
I love it. I listened to it on headphones the other day, and I'm like, wow, this is just like, it's just so like in your face. The guitar, the acoustic guitar, like
that's what I love too.
And like all just like all the weird like synth stuff, and just like, I mean, the thing is, it's like, it's not tongue-in-cheek experimental. It's experimental for its own sake. Like, it's just like, this is it. Like it seems like a goofy song, but it's actually not that goofy. Like, if you really, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else to compare it to.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like a almost a flamenco style guitar playing on it, which I thought was interesting. I thought that was an interesting choice. And then, of course, like the lyrical content is is where it gets a little weird and like kind of like cringy for me, because especially considering that if you think about how Bowie wrote this as in a tribute to Andy Warhol, he was a fan of his and actually got to meet him when he went to the United States in 1971 and actually played this song for him acoustically, which is where the cringe starts to really kind of get to me, because Andy Warhol was way underimpressed with
he didn't like the song.
No, he didn't. He didn't like the song, and he actually literally just walked away from Bowie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
See, I think I know this story, and I think that whole thing was just performance art on both their parts. Especially like Andy. For me, sure. I feel like Andy, that seems like such an Andy Warhol thing to do, to just walk away.
I think he kind of one-upped Bowie and his performance art on that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into this. I want to really check out this. Well,
and it was so meta, because that is such a I don't mean meta Facebook. I mean meta and what it really means, but like that is such an Andy Warhol
like a power move.
Yeah. And it's also like exactly what you expect Andy Warhol to do. Like if Andy Warhol's dead, obviously, and died before I would even been able to meet him. But like, he would have walked away from me because I would have probably said something stupid. Or I would have been like, you're an amazing artist. And he would be like, oh, no, I'm not. And he'd walk away or whatever, because that's just Andy. And I just feel like,
right.
And I also feel like Andy was sort of like, you're not allowed to write songs about me. I'm the one who pushes celebrities and does the things. Me. Right.
What you're saying, that's not me. Well, right. I read this great book, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it, that someone gifted me. And it's a book, you can look it up. It's really a cool book. It's every song that David Bowie ever wrote or performed. Some of them were never recorded.
Wendy Liebman gave it to you.
Yeah, but I didn't want to be a name drop.
Okay, sorry.
And so this book, it has every song that he recorded or performed live. And then there's stories for every song. It'll say, he performed this some Beatles song somewhere. It's like, really? Yeah. He did that song somewhere? And but it has all kinds of other cool stories in it. And it has part of that story where Bowie saw one of Andy Warhol's troops that has some weird little play.
Oh, Pork.
Yeah, maybe England. But it played in England, and Bowie went to that, and they think that's where he first saw all the glittery and glam, and when they're like, and he still had his perm, Bowie did, and he was like, and I think that was like, that's what I'll do, and I need to get in with this factory people, this Andy Warhol thing, and to cut to the chase, he did that, and he thought, oh man, they're gonna think I'm so cool and stuff, and it was like,
they didn't. Yeah, no, he didn't go over very well. They all
we don't like your shoes,
right?
They said stupid things like that, They're, oh, what's with your shoes,
right? Yeah,
like,
no,
totally catching him off guard, He's like, what the hell is this? I don't know.
Yeah, they thought he was some weird like folky guy, and that was it. And that's just like, whereas Bowie took the inspiration from them, that performance of Pork, Lou Reed, Velvet Underground, and kind of really dug into the whole grungy New York rock thing, and then and that's what led him
Ziggy Pops, and,
that's what led him into Ziggy Stardust and Spiders from Mars, which essentially, when all of these songs were being written, most of the songs for Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars were also written at the same time.
Yeah.
So
I actually love the guitar on this song too. The acoustic. I think the acoustic guitar is so beefy and big. It's like big and beefy, and it's like you almost forget it's acoustic. It's like the way Led Zeppelin uses acoustic guitars. They beef up the songs. They don't make them folky. They make them beefier. And it's just, I think I thought it was pretty ingenious to use acoustic guitar for the main rhythm in this song. It matches it, yet it doesn't match it. Like, you would never think to use acoustic, especially for like an Andy Warhol City Factory,
Right.
So anyway.
Okay. So speaking of Andy Warhol and obviously, Bowie's obsession with him, his fanaticism of him, is who are some of your idols, and have you ever met them?
Yes. Some of our idols. I mean, I haven't met many of my idols, and sometimes you have to be careful when you meet your idols because they can often disappoint you.
Sure.
I feel like I've been pretty lucky meeting people who I really idolize and have met them, and they've actually turned out to be kind of great. And some not so great. And I don't really want to mention the not so great ones.
Of course not.
But I mean, Brad's met everybody, so I should just shut up.
Except Keith Moon.
But you do have a drum stand.
I met Pete Townsend.
You've met a lot of people. Brad's met a lot of people through his travels. He has like he collects autographs too, which is sort of cool.
Oh.
He always has stories about the autographs. And just like as a fan, and it's pretty cool.
Well, or I played, we'd play on a bill with someone. It's like, oh, that's so cool. I'm gonna take my record or something and see and that just kind of started there. And
that's cool. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, and it's easier being a band member and being on a bill or in a band that someone's heard of, and they go, oh yeah, you want my autograph? Okay, whatever, and then they'll sign up for me, So that kind of helps.
So you've met everybody, Brad. Chloe, who have you met? I mean, I know you don't want to mention the sour ones.
I mean, I've met a lot of people. I've met Debbie Harry. We have Debbie, a shoe of Debbie Harry's that she signed. It's a long story. That's another story. We have, I've met Morgan Fisher, obviously, who, I guess I've met him. We've never met in person because lives in Japan, but I think we hopefully will. I met Jeff Beck. I wouldn't say he's an idol, but I think he's a fucking amazing guitar player. He was really nice to me. My boyfriend, Robin Zander, of course. That's my husband, but Robin Zander, no.
Sure.
From Cheap Trick.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I've met some people, and most everybody has been amazingly wonderful. Meeting Debbie Harry was pretty cool because I really, really am inspired by Debbie Harry. I'm mostly inspired by, I guess you would say, male rock singers, but Debbie definitely was an inspiration for me, or is an inspiration for me. So that was pretty great to meet her. And I can't say I've met any of the other singers who I'm influenced by, male wise.
Carlos Alomar.
Oh, Bowie's band leader, Carlos Alomar, I've met, who is lovely and wonderful and told great Bowie stories.
Okay.
Jeff?
I can't think of, anyone that I've met that I've ever really like, I just like, as far as idols and stuff, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I just like that. I'm just kind of like drawing a blank. Like, I remember meeting Crispin Glover. He's awesome.
Oh, that was probably a little weird, right?
It was great. He's so friendly. I have a photo.
Oh, that's so cool.
My wife and I. But yeah, he was like doing a thing at the Music Box. He was showing one of his insane films at the Music Box years ago, and he would do like Q&A, and he'd like do sign autographs afterward.
Yeah, and he was like in a punk band too,
actually, my wife and I have a picture of ourselves with Crispin Glover, and he's just got like this like doofy look on his face. It's awesome. It's really great. Like,
that's Crispin for you.
So, yeah. So that's that's just probably But he was totally cool. He was totally sweet, totally nice. Like, cool.
That's good.
Totally great.
It's always
totally
nice to hear that.
Yeah.
Ooh, Jacob Dylan. Wait, I just have to mention, because the next song is a song for Bob Dylan. We met Jacob Dylan, and he was awesome.
Oh yeah.
We went to a screening of the documentary he did. He was part of the Laurel Canyon documentary.
Yes, right.
And then he did like a sort of a, I don't want to call it a concert, because it was just, they set up at the theater. There weren't a lot of people there, and they did a Q&A, and then we talked to him afterwards, and he was lovely. He was really, really wonderful. And I had a ton of respect for him after, and not that I didn't before, but he actually, I loved the movie. Was great that the Laurel Canyon movie, Echo in the Canyon was the movie, what it was called.
Right.
He did a great job. The band was really cool that he brought with him. They did a great job, and it was kind of cool.
He came up to us.
Oh yeah.
Talk to us. Cool. Yeah. Well, someone in his band recognized Brad too. Yeah, we had his wallet, so he had to come up to us. No, someone in the band recognized Brad, so that happens too. But he was really lovely and nice, and seemed genuine, and was very handsome.
Yeah.
Dreamy.
That's what I can't stand. I imagine can't stand me and such a handsome guy.
If you poked your finger in him, you would come out with like buttercream frosting. He was so dreamy.
That freaks me out.
His piercing eyes.
Yeah. So anyway,
that dreamy voice. He's got that kind of deep voice, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
Kind of speaks like his dad.
I met his dad.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah.
When was that?
What was his name? What was that guy's name?
Robert.
Robert
Zimmerman.
Bob. Yeah. Hey, Bob. What's your name? Bob. Here, take a picture.
Okay.
I heard he's not all that personable. Like, he's not really easy to approach.
He approached us. He came to Elvis Brothers.
It was before.
We were recording at the power station in New York City, and he was recording there at the same time. And late at night, he would always end up wandering over and hanging out in our control room while someone was doing a dub or something, And
that's actually pretty badass. I have to say, Bob Dylan would be very cool to meet.
Kind of a long story. It'll be in the book, but but we didn't say anything because we didn't want to bug him. It's like, oh, it's Bob. It's like John Lennon walking in. It's Bob. Yeah. Actually, John Lennon was inspired by Bob Dylan. So, but one night I was like, this is like the third night he's been in here, and I might not ever see him again, and I'll kick myself in the arse if I don't go say hi to Bob Dylan. So I said, I'm going down. And the control room's really big at the power station. It was like one of those alien spaceship, back in the day,
old timey studios.
Sure. Everybody power station. Everybody recorded there. So anyway, I said, I'm going to go down there, and Rob Elvis, like following right behind me. I was like, okay. And we went and talked to Bob Dylan. I said, hi. And he goes, oh, sounds good. No, he said, no, that sounds good. You like the room? You know, it's just a casual. But it's kind of funny because Rob had on a Sun Records T-shirt, and this was like early '80s, and wasn't a lot of those around, but we probably picked it up when we were playing in Memphis or something. And this yellow Sun Records T-shirt. Well, hey, oh, I like your T-shirt. Cool. And then we talk a little bit. Yeah, Champaign. Yeah, I think I played there one time, and I like that T-shirt. And then he goes, want to sell it?
Are you serious? Did he really ask you that?
And Rob's like, well,
that's the other band.
Rob's like, not really. I don't know. I mean, I just have the shirt. He goes, oh, okay. Yeah, it's really cool. So,
That's so
really
weird.
into the,
I know.
yeah.
What is it with celebrities asking to buy fucking shirts off people's backs?
And he was just so into it, I think, and probably never seen one before. It's like, oh my God, he's wearing a Sun Record. How cool, you know, it's Bob Dylan. So
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I guess. Here, you like trousers, you know.
That's so weird.
Like
That happened to me once.
Really?
I used to be, well, I was playing, well, not with Bob Dylan, but I mean, I was playing in this band in Providence, Rhode Island at AS220. And this band that was kind of like, you know, radio band in the early 2000s, I think, Shooty's Groove. You remember them? No? Okay.
The name sounds super familiar.
Yeah, they got a song on the radio, and like it was kind of blowing up, and so like they came to see our band because we had these two. Well, we had one girl that was in the band that was really hot, or she was really cute, and she had a really cute friend. Actually, it was, I think, her cousin, but she was there too. So they went to go see them at another club, brought them back to our show, and so they came backstage and talked with us. And I was wearing this like embroidered cowboy shirt that had all these roses on the along the shoulders,
the classic cowboy shirt.
Yeah, it was really, really well done. It was a really beautiful shirt, and I think I got it in like when I was in Bolivia, oddly enough. But so the bass player of that band, like, we were talking, and he was just like, "Hey, that's a really cool shirt." I was just like, "Oh, thanks, man." Yeah, it was like, I got it in Bolivia, and he's just like, "Hey, would you be interested in selling it?" I was like, "No." No, not really.
And you go home and like, how many? Where's your shirt? Some guy
sold
he
it.
bought the shirt right off my back.
I sold it to some accordion player.
Maybe it's just a power move. Just been like, hey, I bet I can get this guy to sell me his shirt.
Yeah, I know. It's funny.
You know, I played in Providence at least once. I played there with Van Halen one time.
Oh yeah, where was that?
I don't know, some big normal hall place. I don't know.
Really, that was early too, right? That was like
79.
Second record of theirs?
I think it was 79. We played that whole East Coast. Well, all the way down and all over the United States. But
oh, cool. That's the only time you came to Providence? Because I mean, you've done a lot of touring.
Maybe I'd have to look at my gig book.
Oh, okay.
It'll be in the book. But but you said Providence, and I was like, ding, 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 ding. I've played there before.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
I thought you might like that because, you know, Rhode Island's so small.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
One of the smallest, I've heard.
It is the smallest with the largest name. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
State of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations is its full name.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, that's its technical full name.
And but the weird thing is they spelled road wrong.
I know. Isn't it weird?
Okay.
All right. Well, let's move on. Song for Bob Dylan is the next song. Okay, so this is another one that I feel is like kind of cringy. And oddly enough, it's like it's not necessarily a tribute song to Dylan. Like there's some debate, obviously, amongst fans and critics and so forth. But let's see, I found this little fact. Bowie crossed paths with Dylan several times in the 70s and 80s. Although relations between the two were never strong. In 1976, in a pugnacious mood while on tour in Detroit, Bowie told a Melody Maker reporter, "I'm not a great Dylan fan. I think he's a prick, so I'm not that interested."
That's
maybe he's cranky because Mick Ronson went off to play with Bob Dylan after.
I'm wondering
after
that,
Bowie booted him.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, maybe there's a little animosity there.
Like, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go on and do my big thing. Sorry, Ronno. You know, there's like.
I mean, I understand.
Played with Mott and then Mott the Hoople and then off to Bob Dylan, I think. So it's like.
I understand why.
His other hero. Bob Dylan was a little bigger than Bowie was at that time.
Yeah, well, Bowie was. I mean, he admitted this even in his, exhibit that we were lucky enough to have in Chicago. The David Bowie is
cool.
exhibit.
Yeah,
and we, he did often want to sort of you use other people to help himself kind of, not in a totally opportunistic way, but I can see him. Dylan was huge. Like, I'm going to put a song on my album called Song for Bob Dylan. To make, and kind of the same with Warhol, maybe a little bit. And
hey, linen's on sale again.
Can we get him out here? Where's the bouncer?
I'm sorry, I don't want to encourage him, but that was really funny.
Where's the bouncer?
Actually,
in
that book I told you about, it talks about songs. It said he purposely put that line in there because John Lennon had just released an album at that time. He said, "Linen's on sale again,"
even though it's
it's L-I-N-E-N,
right,
but.
Right, but it's.
I don't know. I forget what album it was.
I mean, I'd like to think that he put a song for Bob Dylan and named it that song specifically because he was sort of trying to get on the Bob Dylan bandwagon and have the name in there, and people be like, "Ooh, what's this song?"
Yeah. Well, actually, I think it was actually kind of the opposite. I think it was actually him calling him out a little bit. From some of the research that I did, and that's not what I included here. Was that this is at the time? So this is 71ish that he's recording this record. Bob Dylan kind of fell off he fell out of the scene for a while because of that tragic motorcycle accident.
The motorcycle, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so he was kind of out of commission for a few years, and so Bowie had said something along the lines of this, like, he's not around, like he's not kind of ever present at the moment. So someone needs to take up this space. Someone needs to kind of take a leadership role in the rock and roll scene and do rock and roll. So I would want to be that person, essentially, is something along the lines of what he said.
As I said, he sort of used the name. Like, but I know what you mean. Like I think it is sort of like, well, if he's not around, I'm gonna jump on that bandwagon there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and Bowie wasn't that successful at the time. No. I mean, that's the other weird thing about this record is it's just before he really kind of broke big.
Yeah.
Like, this record didn't sell well. This record sold like under 500,000 copies at the time, which, I mean, I know that sounds like a lot to us, but
it's not. Yeah.
No,
I'd be surprised if it did that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw him in mid '74, the first leg of the Diamond Dogs tour, everybody like, oh wow, and he still wasn't very popular, and he was playing these kind of ratty theaters.
Really? I mean, that's after Ziggy. I mean, that's when he really kind of broke.
He broke, but to a certain underground cult crowd of that sort of thing. It wasn't like mainstream at all. It wasn't on the radio. And the theater was just, there might have been 1,500, 2,000 people maybe, both nights. And then my Bowie memory of being there. And then he did the second leg of the tour. The first leg I saw with all the props and everything, and which was an experience. And second leg, he didn't do that, but that's when he kind of turned into the Thin White Duke kind of thing.
Oh, well, with the Diamond Dogs tour, he was going broke. I think that's because
that's why they had to stop. They could. Well, we can't take all these cool.
Yeah. He had to cut corners props. Just because he was paying for it all out of his pocket.
So right there, he wasn't doing that great. And but in my memory, when I started hearing a song actually on the radio, and it still wasn't a very big hit, but it was when that David Live album came out, which was recorded the Diamond Dogs tour, and he had the song, the cover song, "Knock on Wood." You gotta knock on wood. Bah, bah. That he did a cover of that, and it was on the radio for a while. And I remember going, "Wow, I hear the song quite a bit on the radio." And that's when he started. And then Young Americans, of course, that's where it all started happening. So so this whole early era area, it was like,
even though it's like our favorite era.
Yeah. Like, people finally, as all quirky, clever, too brilliant artists, a lot of people don't discover that until later. And then they go, wow, his early albums are awesome.
Yeah, right.
The Bee Gees had cool records out before the disco stuff. Really? I never heard
Even though
these.
the disco stuff is awesome.
Yeah, it's
But
great,
the
but
early
people
Bee Gees
don't
stuff is
realize that they had
amazing.
another whole
Yeah.
career before
Right.
that.
All the eras of artists like
Yeah.
that transcend,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
That's
generations.
just an example of.
Sure.
Okay, sorry.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next song, Queen Bitch.
Oh yeah.
I actually don't
Chloe?
really have a question for this song. Are you referencing to Chloe?
This is my favorite song on the record.
It's a great song.
This record is everything I want in a Bowie song.
Mhm.
Sure.
Got a bippity boppity hat in it. It's got like
Right.
it's
Acoustic.
the talky vocals are brilliant.
It's got the beefy acoustic up against the
and then that
all that blend.
that like
He puts on the Faye voice.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a spectacular. It's my favorite song on the record, and I heard it once. We were at a record show in this giant Union Hall, and they played it, and then someone was spinning records up on a stage really far away from like where I was like looking through records. He started spinning Queen Bitch, and I just yelled really loud, Queen Bitch, like people like I had Tourette's or something, which not that there's anything wrong with that. But it was just like people are like looking at me like, what?
Hey, it was like, Queen Bitch!
I know. I got like super excited when I heard like the second it started. Like it wasn't even like after I realized what it was. It was like the first two notes, you know.
Ding,
right.
ding,
And I was
ding,
like, Queen
ding.
Bitch, and people, you know, just very echoey hall.
Yeah.
And these people looking at records, and they all went like,
Bitch.
right. It was so anyway.
I remember when I had my first beer.
I was completely sober. So it was I just love the song.
You were drunk on vinyl.
I was drunk on vinyl, exactly.
Oh, there you go. No, this is a great song. I agree with you completely. I mean, it's one of my favorites off this record. I mean, like as far as like being a rock song, you know, I mean, because this is the only rock song on this record.
Yeah.
So and this obviously leads into what he ends up doing with Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars.
Yeah.
Also, if I may interject,
Of course.
supposedly written about Lou Reed.
Yep.
And I also read in this mystifying book that I've told you about, that I can't think of the title, where Bowie just talks about all the stories of all of his songs. This one, some of the lyrics were written while he was visiting New York up at Max's Kansas City, which was there was the downstairs kind of big bar part, but upstairs is where the music room was. And he was Velvet Underground. Everybody used to play up there and all that. Mm-hmm. So he supposedly wrote some of the lyrics while at Max's, looking down at the cruisers below. Was looking out that window. There was a window upstairs at Max's, and that looked down on the street in front. And supposedly that's where that lines like that came from. So.
Oh, okay. Well, it makes sense. I mean, it certainly is a tribute to Lou Reed in one way or another, and it certainly seems that he kind of was biting their style, trying to, you know, and doing it in tribute, but still very much lifting the Velvet Underground style.
He was very good at lifting other people's styles and making them his own. Very good at that. Like everything from his fashion to his work, you know, his lyrics to his music. But that's also kind of makes him brilliant. We're all inspired by other people. It's just being able to make them your own and give it your own, you know, your own thing is a talent.
Sure.
It's that magic.
Real quick, I was going to mention, going back to quickly, Andy Warhol at the beginning, where there's that weird little keyboardy part thing, and then he's going Warhol, where he's like trying to like pronounce Warhol before the song starts.
Right. Uh-huh.
If you listen, and I was just noticing this the other day, listening to it, he goes Hull.
Which is where
Mick Ronson is from. Is from Hull,
and the other guys.
So I wonder if
Woody Woodmanson and
you start off on Hull.
Trevor Boulder, they're all from Hull,
like that. And I wonder if he was like just being silly with that. With
when your bride runs off with a Scotsman from Hull. That's a Ruddles reference.
So,
sorry,
I don't know.
Oh, all right.
Might have just been some thing, but.
Yeah, no. I think that was actually Ken Scott, the producer, was introducing the song, and he mispronounced Warhol And so David Bowie
Oh.
corrects him. He's just like, it's Warhol. Warhol. And then they just
Oh.
kind of like weird tape thing that they did. They kind of like doubled it or something like that. And actually
Alright.
that was the first take that they did that. And then I guess it was they had done a few more takes, eventually landing on the fourth take is the one that ended up on the record, but they liked that kind of intro so much that they decided to keep it.
You did your homework, Jimmy.
I do, and that's why this show
That's
takes
great.
me forever. Because every record that I have to do, I research the record. And
good. It's
and
good.
the guests.
I'm learning a lot though, so thank you for doing that.
Oh, of course. All right, last song. The Boulay Brothers.
And with that,
the Boulay Brothers. Here they are.
anybody?
All right.
I mean, I actually do like really like this song
Yeah.
because it's just so weird and like I don't know, it's like the backwards kind of like, or the backwards tape guitar thing gets me all the time, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's the coolest fucking thing ever. And like, I mean, but it's also, again, it's done so tastefully.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's so memorable, and you know, there's that, but then there's also just like that, you know, I always love the way that it breaks down towards the end, doing that like Cockney, you know,
Yeah.
thing.
yeah.
It's all like, it's just like okay, everything is like, oh wow, like I mean, you know, this is,
It's like
You're-
tripped out,
you're-
all these weird voices.
it's just like you're like entering this like weird like world, and like
And again,
It could be the
It's like-
schizophrenic take, like if he's kind of mentioning a little bit about the schizophrenia of
yes.
one of, like, I mean, look, you know, his brother most likely had some kind of like effect on this song in particular, and if that's what he wanted to kind of convey, that's kind of like maybe what that is at the end, because there's just these weird different voices kind of coming at you from all different sides. Really,
And I also
and
feel it was
the acoustic guitar, like it's doing that like almost like quadraphonic thing.
Mm.
At least it tricks me into thinking it's quadraphonic, because it's just like blung 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 blung.
it's panning
Yeah,
almost.
like that. It's just like panning so quickly that it like almost creates like a rotating effect.
And I also feel like this is another example of sort of Bowie being a little bit ahead of his time. And I don't know if this just sort of like, I guess Brad had said he read where this just kind of fell out in the studio, this song. A little bit, right?
He said he had been jotting down just lyrics, of course. And he said all the other songs on the album pretty much were together when he brought them in the studio. And this one, he'd just been jotting lyrics down in the studio. And one night he had an idea to piece it together. And he said it was loosely based upon the Boulay brothers, was like the, I guess
Tobacconist.
the Jones brothers, the two brothers, is loosely based on that, and that's what he called it, the Boulay brothers, for whatever reason.
And
But he said, but he also said, he goes, but at the same time, I can't necessarily say what the song is about, but it was loosely based on something about him and his brother. It was all kind of pieced together.
Sure.
And it just came together. Like I said, hadn't been together. It just came together one night, and they just kind of put it all together. And that's how the song came about, which is why there's a lot of probably different sections and things. And
but I also think it gives Bowie like sort of ahead of his time stuff again, where he almost like, I feel like there's themes of this kind of thing in other future albums that he it's kind of like a Black Star thing again, in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not sonically necessarily, but just idea wise and concept wise.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, so I mean, this song, from what I learned in the research that I had done, there's a number of different interpretations of this song. All of them are kind of all over the place. Bowie himself is said to have told producer Ken Scott that it was a track for the American market, because the Americans, quote, the Americans always like to read into things, even though the lyrics make absolutely no sense.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So this is our final question. This is this is our final question for the evening.
That's very Warhol-esque also, I have to say. I feel like
Sure. Yeah,
that would
sure
be
it
something
is.
Warhol would also do. I'm going to paint soup cans and make them be worth $1 billion or
A
whatever.
bajillion dollars.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I know some rockers like to have fun and give fake answers to interviews and questions and interviews. Have the handcuffs spun any tales to bust some chops or create or build a myth?
Everything I've said to you today has been a lie.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad we cleared that up.
Oh wait, no, that was not you. I'm sorry. No, everything was the truth.
Okay.
I'm a myth. She's a mythos. Well, originally our album, because he had Hunky Dory, we were going to call it Okie Dokie.
The new one? You were gonna
Yeah.
call the new one Okie Dokie?
Yeah. Because,
Cool. Why didn't you go with Okie Dokie?
well, because at the time,
Jeff was
there
going to
was-
quit.
well, we were going to,
Right.
we had this band idea. Because of the whole Rick Wakeman thing, and he was in the band Yes, and we thought, well, we could do a Yes tribute, but then we'll do a country version. We'll call it Yep. But that didn't come together, so we had Burn the Rails, and now it's all this.
I don't remember
Oh, okay.
telling any tall tales
No.
about,
No, not really.
because I'm short anyway. so-
Yeah, and we live in the land of
okay.
Lincoln, and he was very honest.
Honest Abe, right?
What about
Okay.
you, Jimmy? Have you told any tall tales in any of your interviews?
In any of my interviews? No. No, actually, no. Unfortunately, I'm very honest. I'm not the one being
He's from
interviewed.
Illinois.
I never
know,
get
but-
I never get interviewed, so I never have to make up a story, really.
I want to interview you now. Maybe we should just do that.
Okay, sure. Which
What
album do
size
you want to talk
shoe?
about?
What size shoe do you wear?
Yeah, right. I bet you have a lot of, oh, I know what I want to ask you. So when people do this Vinyl and Vision,
Sure.
do you remember all of the stuff? Like in a year, will you remember the stuff about the Bowie album, or would you have to look at your notes?
Like someone will bring it up and you'll
Right.
go,
Oh, as a
yeah,
matter of
okie
fact,
dokie.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to remember this tomorrow.
Okay.
He doesn't even know who we are.
No, actually, the real answer is that the brain works like a computer, and there's only so much
Okay.
memory in there that it's not even subconsciously I have to just expel some stuff and delete some
I get it.
files.
But how
and-
fun to look up all this stuff, even like albums that maybe you're not crazy about. It probably is a learning experience, and you
Yeah.
probably learn some cool stuff when you research it.
Absolutely, it absolutely is, and that's why it's fun to do this, and that's why I do it. I do it. Do. Did you get that one? Yeah, that was
Yes.
a little.
That was good.
I only realized after I said it. I'd like to say thank you for taking the time and to discuss this record with me.
Yeah, thank you very
you.
much. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you in your sentiment, like being thankful for me doing this work. It's a pleasure for me, actually. So
I learned a lot, I know, about this record from you. So thank you for doing such extensive research
not a
to
problem.
give us a few little things that
And
I mean,
now
Brad may have known, but I didn't know some of
I
it. So thank
knew,
you.
I kind of knew about the Handcuffs, but the whole Burn the Rails album, which is awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. And then so
Thanks
now it's
to
officially
Jeffrey
out.
Kmieciak, who's down there in my little screen.
Yep.
Oh, hi.
Lead
Mhm.
guitarist Jeff, there you are. So the new record
back.
is out.
Yes.
The vinyl, we don't have an exact date of the vinyl being
No,
released.
supply
Everything's so
chain,
backed up
yeah.
with the pressing plants.
Yeah.
And
I
did you
know.
see? I just saw a
But
thing.
I'm sure you're going to be on the vinyl list, so don't fret.
Okay, very
Pardon
cool.
the
but you
black
know, it's all good. So people should still, if they're waiting for vinyl, they can do that. But it's going to be a while.
Yep.
In the meantime, if you want to hear some
In the
cool
meantime,
rock and
listen,
music for
right.
the summer, pick up the Handcuffs.
Either the CD or download or stream. And then when the vinyl comes out, you'll be ready to blast it on your hi-fi
Yeah.
and sing along and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Put
Do
your
you guys-
cat on the record and spin the cat around on the record.
Do you know if Pravda has any plan to do a pre-sale at this point or no?
I don't know.
Or they're going to want to wait till they have them in hand and then start selling them?
He sometimes does pre-sale, so we might do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk to them about that.
But this is also new right now. I think
Yeah.
we don't want to confuse everything.
Yeah,
Right.
they might do pre-sale though. I wouldn't have any objection to that.
You guys, your website, I mean, is that where the best place to find the music?
Yeah, or Google it. Like the Handcuffs will guide, the handcuffs.com can guide people to the
all the
websites.
links.
Yeah,
What
or
about
Social
Pravda?
I mean
Yeah.
most, or pravdamusic.com is
Pravda
also
Records.
pravdamusic.com.
Well,
And
that's what Pravda
yeah,
is, though.
and
But
then
not everybody knows that.
and people, everybody knows how they get on Spotify nowadays or whatever their preferred streaming or download. They'll find it.
Yeah.
Burn the Rails is the record.
Burn the rails. That's
And
right.
we definitely appreciate you promoting it. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's been a
thank you very
pleasure.
much.
It's been a pleasure speaking with all of you. Thank you
Yeah.
all for taking the time.
I hope we do it again. Next time it's going to be I'm trying to think of a quadruple album, like Tommy or something. Is Tommy
We'll
quadruple?
do Magnetic Field, 69 songs.
Oh, wow.
Done. That's it.
Oh,
Next
that
time.
would be a lot
Sign
of
us
fun.
up. I know. Actually, Jeff,
I'm banning.
Jeff's
I
like
love
gears
that
are
album. I love
Jeff's
that album.
gears are spinning.
I haven't listened to that in years, actually, and
Okay.
I'm just remembering how much I love that album.
Okay, well,
Uh-oh.
we're doing that one tomorrow, so go get on it.
Anyway,
All right.
Go start your research.
All right. Thank you so much, Jimmy.
All right, no problem. Thank
Bye.
you. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.